Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it.
The Calvine Incident in August 1990, two guys were out in the countryside when they witnessed a large diamond-shaped craft, and this hovering or moving very slowly. What's unusual about this is that they took 6 photographs of it. They then contacted a local newspaper, said we've had the most amazing sighting and we've got daylight photos, clear as a bell. The newspaper then reached out to the Ministry of Defense for a comment, and the Ministry of Defense said, if you want us to give a proper comment and do a proper analysis, you'll need to send us the photos and the negatives. Big mistake. For whatever reason, the newspaper complied. We don't know what it is, we don't know how it flies, it does seem to be real. The newspaper, by the way, never got the photos or negatives back. For whatever reason, maybe embarrassment, never ran a story on it either.
Seriously? You sent them the negatives? Oh, come on, people. That's ignorance at its finest right there.
Easter Island, Machu Picchu, the pyramids, Stonehenge, all these unexplainable ancient structures are all sitting right on top of fault lines. Is there any truth to that?
They're not on fault lines, they're actually on energy grids. An energy grid is where the magnetic field of the Earth whips out of the planet. So a lot of these structures are literally sitting directly on top of these high energy magnetic fields. From USGS.gov, and take the Earth's magnetic field map and then lay it over a map of like a lot of these megalithic structures. All of a sudden you go, oh my God, they're all sitting on top of like high energy magnetic portals, basically. And what's interesting about that is how in the world did they figure this out? Like, what type of tool do you use to measure how much magnetism is whipping out of the Earth here from the core or 100 miles away? How do you distinguish which one is the one, the spot to put it in? They had to have had some level of advanced technology that had the capability. Now we do it through satellite technology. So how in the world were they able to do it? We have a satellite that orbits the planet in a polar orbit. It orbits this way, not this way. And as the Earth spins on its axis, it's taking swaths of data. Magnetism, electromagnetic fields, it's taking topographical data and so forth and so on, minerals and so forth. We know everything that's on Earth from a polar orbiting satellite, which is why I believe that that's exactly what was used. Because if you look at the Great Pyramid at Giza, where is it located? Directly at the center of landmass on Earth, not the center of the Earth, the center of landmass. There's only one way to get that calculation. You have to have a satellite orbiting in a polar orbit, scanning the planet as it spins on its axis to pick up all the topographical data, to be able to calculate the land mass and to find the dead center of the mass of land. And not only that, of course, it has one of the biggest magnetic fields coming right out of that spot too. So boom, dead center, they drop it right there. And then also the Great Pyramid, the height of it matches the average height of all the peaks on Earth. Again, how can you do that? Polar orbiting satellite, as the Earth is spinning, it's calculating.
That's pretty fascinating. There's a lot of information in there that I was not aware of. That the pyramids are the average height of all the peaks on Earth, and that they're the center of all the landmass. I'd never heard that before, so I thought that was pretty fascinating. But the most interesting part is that all of these ancient megalithic structures are all sitting on these energy fields. It is perplexing to think about how they figured all that out, but it's not perplexing to me that they figured it out. I'm totally convinced that they were a lot smarter then than we are now as far as technology goes.
If a picture's worth 1,000 words, then this picture is priceless. These giant trees that were founded by our ancestors have a story to tell. And that story is this. They will attempt to convince us that this is picture 894 out of a series of I don't know how many. But that's not the case. This was 894, without the 1,000 years added. It's a lot closer than we think. Our very recent ancestors knew the date, they knew the shape of the Earth, and they knew how many months were in a year. As recently as 1934, calendars in the United States showing 13 months. As well as the true year, 894, not 1894. And definitely not 894 in a series out of, who knows.
I thought the most fascinating part about that video was on the bottom of that picture, it says more durable than stone. And I think that's a lot more interesting than the date, because that's someone's actual description of the tree in the image that looks like calcified, or those trees are so big they may be starting to fossilize, and that's why he wrote that on that image, more durable than stone. But that's pretty cool.
But let me ask you, why are FBI agents guarding a cave in the Grand Canyon, keeping hidden from public eyes temples and hieroglyphics we find only in ancient Egypt? Why are there more pyramids in the Americas than there are in Egypt? And why was the Smithsonian ordered by a Supreme Court ruling to admit that they were hiding the bones of giants? If dendrochronology methods or dating the age of trees are misleading as stated by Fomenko, how would we prove that certain mountains aren't simply trunks of once cut down immensely gigantic trees? And lastly, why was the word dragon replaced by dinosaur, a word not in existence prior to mid-1800s? The Tartarian Empire may have just recently ended, but it strangely lives on in the world of cinematic fantasy. Like most government cover-ups, they fictionalize the truth by making it Hollywood. Think Game of Thrones. So if unintended disclosures occur, people will brush it off as Hollywood fantasy and choose to not believe it. In our next film, we'll explore the depths of proof that have illuminated millions in understanding that our world was once inhabited by mythical creatures, giants, incredible healing and energy technologies, and enlightened beings that lived under a simple rule that what you take from nature, you give back more.
Is it true that the Smithsonian was ordered in a Supreme Court ruling to admit that they were hiding the bones or remains of giants? Because I've never heard of that. I wanted to say really quick before we go on to the next clip, I've got an announcement at the end of the video, so if you, for whatever reason, decide to end the video early, skip forward to the end, because I've got something I want everyone to know about.
You've heard of the active denial system in the military. It's this dish that sends out a beam of frequency towards people that are looking to do harm. It'll make you stop in your tracks. It'll make you feel like you got to vomit. It'll make you feel like you're on fire. It can even put voices in your head. It's called the active denial system in the military. And the Admiral Tabbas, Thos, has this group of people coming at him because they don't know who he is when he lands his ship. He says, I raised my staff and sent out a ray of vibration which stopped them still in their tracks. Sounds like the active denial system to me. Same technology, just a different year. What we're doing now, we're just simply rediscovering everything that already existed.
And like I was saying earlier, how I believe that we're not as smart technologically, we're not as technologically as advanced as they were then. There's a good example right there. If that is the same technology that he's using, he's got his in a staff where he can just point it, carry it around with him and point it at people. Whereas in order for us to do it, we have this big machine that has to hook up to the back of a vehicle and be drug around. Same technology, they were just more advanced.
Learning how to transfer human consciousness from one body to another. In Russia, the 2045 project, they've already took a monkey and transferred its consciousness into a computer. That was done in 2010. In 2016 or 17, it was to transfer human consciousness into a robot, which that's been done. In America, we have DARPA. They have the Avatar Project. Look that up, the Avatar Project, where they transfer a soldier's consciousness into a field robot, and then the only thing that gets damaged if the robot blows up, the symbiotic link is disconnected through consciousness, but the soldier's obviously not going to die. And this is real science being actively used right now. By 2045, which is the 2045 project in Russia, they're looking to transfer human consciousness into an actual being, an actual avatar body. They can take a skin cell from you, they can put it in a petri dish, they can get it under the right conditions, turn that skin cell into a stem cell, culture that, turn that into a group of stem cells, and then grow that into a full clone of yourself using your own stem cells, and then transfer your mind into your new body.
Well, if all of this is true, then I stand corrected, because I just made a comment a few videos back that although I do believe that they are doing all this cloning stuff, that I don't believe that they can do it in a timely manner. So to my understanding, they would have had to go back and clone someone knowing they wanted a clone of them at birth so that they would be the right age and be able to easily be swapped out. Say if they were cloning a celebrity they wanted to replace. Well, they don't know that celebrity is going to be a celebrity whenever they're 3 years old, but apparently they can clone much, much faster than that if all this is true. So I just wanted to point out my error.
Physicists are getting really close to understanding the shape of the universe, so I'm just going to spoil it for everyone because it's not an actual discovery. It's something that's been known for millions of years. So the shape of the universe is just a DNA strand. The reason for it's super fucking obvious. So in this universe, shapes and forms can only serve certain functions. That's why you see molecules looking like atoms and atoms looking like planets and planets looking like solar systems, etc., etc. That's why in the occult wisdom you get as above, so below, just repeating patterns. So in our universe, what is the most effective means of storing information? Because we're in an information matrix. Well, a lot of you would say it's bits, zeros and ones. That's incorrect. It's actually DNA, because DNA is doing bits and then folding itself infinitely upon itself in a recursive manner. The shape of our universe is the shape of DNA. It's folding infinitely upon itself constantly. It's why you can talk to people in multiple galaxies very, very far away, because every point is fucking touching. So we're gonna figure this out right now. Right now they're figuring out that it is possible to do faster than light communication, because once you understand how the universe is literally curving in on itself, you can do some weird shit to it. The curving of itself is also why in occult symbolism you'll always see things like the caduceus of me, looking like two snakes intertwined, looking like a DNA strand with a beam of light in the middle. It's also why you'll see the dick of Baphomet, same thing, it's just my caduceus again. That's why when Christ was drawing his little fishy, if you just take it out a little bit further, it's once again DNA double helix. It's also why if you take a yin yang and you stop viewing it as like two koi fish, but instead go do this. Actually, I'll pull it up for you, hold up. So as you'll see here in this old yin yang, it's actually just two spirals. You gotta fuck up the viewpoint. You're standing at the bottom of it looking up. That's what the yin yang's supposed to be. Yeah, but that's the entire fucking universe. That's why literally every symbol in every fucking religion always just shows the double spiral of the universe. But what would I know? I'm some weird moron on TikTok. And then you gotta be like, oh, why would the shape of the universe be the shape of DNA? Because it's the shape of life. And what do? We live our lives, then we meet someone we love, and then we combine our DNA with their DNA. It's the meaning of life, guys. The meaning of life is to love each other. We are literal physical representations of the universe itself. Boop, ba-doop, ba-doop, boop.
I personally do not know what shape the universe is and don't really care. I do think it's interesting that we keep seeing the shape of the double helix show up over and over in all these ancient religions and stuff that wouldn't have even known what DNA was. But then at the same time, you see all these ancient religious texts and just ancient texts in general, maybe not religious, but these ancient texts that actually talk about DNA and manipulating DNA. It's just fascinating to think about. Did they know? Did they really understand what DNA was? Or did they just have a rudimentary understanding of people can be altered?
What do you think the UFO phenomenon is?
Well, brother, the things I've seen, I didn't come here today to talk about what I think.
What do you mean?
I'd seen these things come out of the sky and I saw hundreds of people just evaporate in the blink of an eye. Entire towns with generations of history, culture, just disappear. We were assigned to a classified project down in South America. We were staying in some little town in Paraguay, and boy, things got pretty horrific. It's honestly a miracle. We'd made it out. So we were, enjoying our time. We'd patrol and monitor our parameters, but, things seemed pretty quiet. And so, we'd enjoy the nightlife. We were going out to eat, talking with some of the locals in the bars, things like that.
Wait, so how'd you know to go down there specifically?
Yeah. So, we've been getting these really unordinary impulse signals.
Jesus.
Just, things that made absolutely no sense coming from this area of South America.
All right, so this guy saw an entire town with hundreds of people get evaporated, witnessed it, but he lived to tell the tale. Sounds like bullcrap to me.
I don't know what kind of dark energy is going on during Lana Del Rey's concert, but someone just went to one of her concerts not too long ago and showed us the pictures that he took. Now, before I show you those pictures, Lana actually responded to someone calling her out for putting witchcraft in her concerts, and this is what she said. I know the Bible verse for verse better than you do. P.S. You're giving off super gremlin energy, not in a good way. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, she is openly into witchcraft. In fact, when Trump was running running for president, she invited all of her followers on Twitter to hex him. And I don't know what goes down during witchcraft, but she said all of the ingredients can be found online at the stroke of midnight. Now, when this man was at this concert I was talking about, he said that every single picture he tried to take, the faces of all the dancers and Lana Del Rey was very distorted. Now, I take this with a grain of salt because he was probably sitting far, and that's just the way cameras work sometimes. But he said overall the vibes were weird. He said there was someone in the crowd screaming at Lana for her to kill him. I mean, we all remember what happened in Mexico. It looked like a wave of energy just knocked everyone over extremely fast. A lot of people said it was a domino effect, but I mean, I don't know how people just fall that fast all of a sudden.
Something definitely suspicious about these satanic-looking concerts and stuff. Lana Del Rey hadn't had a hit in a while. She might be trying to manifest something and use some sort of witchcraft and magicry to try to make herself more relevant again. But who knows, man? Could just be that she's an evil, evil person. Why else would you go and emit that type of stuff to your crowd, the people who are there to support you, and the people who are the only reason that you are where you are? And you're gonna be doing witchcraft and stuff and putting out bad vibes to them? Seems like a real shitty thing to do.
Your TV is literally a patented mind control device, and it's designed to psychologically change the way you view reality. The patent is titled Nervous System Manipulation by Electromagnetic Fields from Monitors. The more we watch TV, the more we go into alpha brainwave state, which is the slow and receptive pattern that accepts images and suggestions into our conscious minds with little critical thinking. Here's where it gets crazy. Former CIA Director William Casey said, "We'll know our information program is complete when everything the American public believes is false." It has been working with Hollywood since its inception in 1947. And this declassified document on this website shows that the intelligence agency has infiltrated every major news outlet in America. I know it's hard to fathom the idea that we could be manipulated and used in such bizarre ways for the purpose of profit, control, and other agendas, but it's a reality we have to face. There are limitless examples of this throughout history, all the way up to modern day. TV and electronic devices promote influencing thoughts and behavior, especially through social media. But what's not obvious is the fact that there are others out there using these techniques knowingly to control our minds. It's called TV program for a reason, and each channel is channeling a very calculated message into your subconscious. Now, the next time you watch a show, just remember.
And that's why I almost exclusively stick to YouTube and documentaries, which I know can have a bias, but I try to choose them carefully. And, well, you all know I don't just believe everything that I see. Although that's completely true, the general public is starting to wake up to this. I wouldn't even say they're starting to wake up. I'd say that for the most part, everybody's awake. They just announced mass media layoffs and stuff. Big media is dying, and it couldn't have happened at a better time.
The spiritual life simulation, we're here to learn through opposites, through experiencing the opposites. So we learn concepts. So let's say you choose out a menu, I want to learn unconditional love. That means that you will continue to be confronted with conditional love your entire life, and you will judge it harshly until you no longer judge conditional love so much, and then you've finally learned the concept of what it means to experience unconditional love. It's through experiencing the opposites. You cannot learn what is pleasure without experiencing also pain. And it's not that the heart breaks when you have difficulty and trauma and challenge. The ego breaks, the heart only expands. So through all of this, we increase our capacity to learn and to love through tearing our muscles of our spiritual bodies. Right? It's like, you go to a gym, if there's no pain, there's no gain. Same concept. If you're in a spiritual life simulation, you're not going to choose a simple life because you're not going to learn very much.
This all goes back to like the Dolores Cannon stuff, talking about choosing a life to enter so that you can learn specific experiences and stuff and grow spiritually so you gain something of value from that life. I think that the one thing that you can do to experience unconditional love is to have children. There's nothing that one of my kids could do to make me stop loving them. Conditional love, my wife, I love her. I want to say I love her unconditionally, but I love her conditionally, on the condition that she doesn't do me wrong, go out and start sleeping with other dudes, that she remains faithful in the marriage. My kids, they could do anything to me. They could be stabbing me, and I'm going to, with my last breath, tell them I'm sorry for whatever it is that I've done to cause you to want to do this to me. That's unconditional love.
So that's... You want to take a break?
Yeah.
That's an interesting concept. I've never heard it put like that. This also falls in line with the Dolores Cannon stuff. It all kind of interconnects if you think about it. So we're here to try to learn lessons and grow spiritually. All people have reached maximum spirituality and maximum good, maximum light. The darkness disappears. There's no more darkness. Very, very interesting concept. There could be no darkness if everyone has reached their ultimate spiritual awakening. Everyone would be only doing good things. All the darkness would be gone. Very, very, very fascinating, very interesting way to look at things.
It is so important that everyone knows what is happening in Texas right now, because this is literally how civil wars begin. Yesterday, the governor of Texas released a statement in which he said that as of January the 24th, he has officially declared an invasion of the southern border by illegal immigrants and has now invoked an act that will mobilize the Texas National Guard, which is the state's own military forces, in order to protect and defend itself, which put simply is a massive stance against the US federal government and Joe Biden. And don't forget that Texas was once an independent state, and there are still a lot of people who want them to become their own country again. Now, if you didn't know, the southern border has been an escalating point of contention over the last 3 years. But this whole situation blew up last week when Texas authorities placed razor wire over a part of the border that had seen a high number of illegal crossings. But then, when the federal border force troops arrived, the Texas National Guard blocked them from entering the area and accused them of trying to destroy their fortifications. The Biden administration then took this matter to the Supreme Court, which ruled that the US Border Patrol agents were allowed to clear out the razor wire. And that's where you'd think things would end, right? Absolutely not. That statement, which I showed you earlier, was then issued by Texas, saying that Biden had failed to uphold his constitutional duties, which require the US government to protect its states. And that also because of his lawless border policies, a massive 6 million illegal migrants have crossed the southern border in just 3 years, which is more than the population of 33 different states in America. Then, after the statement was released, the Texas National Guard were seen laying out even more razor wire against the government and Supreme Court's orders. And as I recorded this video, there is literally an unprecedented physical standoff between a federal and state's government. And some Democrats are even calling on Biden to seize control of the Texas National Guard, which is why I say...
Now, I've said it before, and I'll go ahead and reiterate it here. I will not get into politics on this channel. I'm never going to tell you who to vote for. It's none of my business. But this is extremely important. We're going to lose our country to all these illegal immigrants flooding across the border. Texas is trying to do something about it, and the federal government is going to end up causing a civil war. That's what I'm scared about right here. I just wanted to throw that in there for those of you who are unaware of what's going on, because this could escalate really quick and get out of hand. And so everybody needs to be aware of what's going on so they're not caught off guard if things do get out of control. But guys, that's the end of this video. The announcement that I wanted to make: by Friday, next Friday, we will have our Discord. We'll be live. I got my buddy Dylan has set it up for me, and it's awesome. There's a lot of great features and stuff in there. One of my favorite things is in there is the stages. And so we're going to be able to do live events where I can actually talk to you guys and, you know, through video chat, face-to-face. So that's going to be awesome. I'm really excited about it and can't wait to launch it and give you all guys a link so y'all can go join up. And just wanted to make a quick announcement about that. I'm super excited about it, so I hope you guys are as well. I hope you all decide to join it. But that's the end of this video. I will be back tomorrow with another one, like I always am. I hope you guys have a great, safe Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a great, safe day. I will see you tomorrow.